Hi, my name is Dr. Felucia. I'm a licensed psychologist and owner of Skill Set Counseling, where I focus on the treatment of OCD, spiritual abuse, and cultural abuse. And today's video is going to be in the domain of spiritual abuse. So what I'm going to be doing is a little bit different. I'm going to be reacting to a comment that I received on one of my videos. And the video, if you want to go back and watch it, is on gaslighting and spiritual abuse. And so I'm going to react to this comment. I'm going to explain how what this person describing illustrates how spiritually abusive systems work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the comment. I'm going to summarize a little bit and just go from there. Okay, so this individual left this comment, and they said that when their husband approached leadership with some troubling behaviors and experience that they experienced as a family, they were blamed. So I'm just going to read it. That will make more sense if I just read it. And so, when my husband approached leadership with some troubling behavior and treatment we experienced from a family, they essentially blamed us for not forgiving them and even used the scriptures stating that we shouldn't find fault with one another, even though they never actually admitted to doing anything wrong or gave anything close to a sincere apology. But because they were considered a good Christian family and we were also considered a good Christian family, they claimed there was no evidence to prove our claims for abuse, even though we did have witnesses, which in a court of law and according to the scriptures, that more than one witness is evidence. It's all very upsetting to face deceit dressed up in Christianese platitudes. And so, to the individual that experienced this, I'm, really sorry. My heart goes out to you. Unfortunately, this is not uncommon when people have described what they felt are spiritually abusive experiences. And so, just as a disclaimer, I'm just going by what this commenter said. I don't know, I can't speak to specifics or delve into what they did or did not experience in their situation. I'm only going by what they have here. And I don't want to say, oh, this is, a bad place. You should leave it. You should stay. This is spiritual abuse. This isn't spiritual abuse. But so I can't make any definitive statements. But what I can do is offer my own opinion and my own perspective on what occurred here. Okay. And so regardless of when this occurred, this can be very upsetting for someone going to a spiritual authority and asking for help and not receiving the help that you need. And so if you think about it this way, when I've talked about spiritual abuse in my other videos, I talk about how spiritual abuse is used as a way of leveraging spirituality to cause harm, right? And that harm can be in one of two ways. It can be active abuse, where someone is actually causing abuse to someone else. And it can also occur in another way, which is more passive, more of a hands-off approach, right? And this seems like this may be what may be going on in this individual situation, or what might have gone on. Sometimes when people have experienced spiritual abuse, they will say that they went to a leader, they went to someone for help, and instead of them feeling like they were listened to, they felt like they were the perpetrator, right? Or that there was something wrong with them. They basically got blamed and sent away, or nothing was done, or a combination of these scenarios. And so in this situation, I see a few things that happen, that can happen in spiritually abusive settings. The first thing is, being told, this individual was told that they didn't forgive, and they were blamed for the situation. And anytime we bring up a grievance or we bring up an issue, it doesn't mean we didn't forgive, right? It simply means, hey, this is an issue, this is a problem, we would like help addressing it. And so they were basically, the situation was turned around on this individual, and they were told, well, you were being mean, or you were being unforgiving, or whatever the blame that's being assigned here is. And so we see that, and we don't really understand, from what I can understand from this comment, I don't know if this individual expressed any sort of unforgiveness. They were just saying, hey, this situation happened, it's troubling, we would like some help and support here. Okay. And then another thing that happened too is that they use scripture saying that we shouldn't fight fault with one another. Okay. And so, again, in spiritually abusive situations, scripture is often used incorrectly and weaponized against people. Okay. Anytime someone brings up an issue, or says, hey, there's a problem here, that's not necessarily synonymous with fault finding, right? And even if it is, let's play devil's advocate here and say, okay, yeah, these people are just fault finding. They're still not addressing the root of the issue, right? And this is something that I will probably go into in another one of my videos, and this is known as a spiritual bypass, right? And so it's basically using spirituality. This commenter talked about Christianese platitudes, right? So just using these spiritual terms to throw a blanket over something and not address the real issue. And in this situation, saying you're fault finding is not actually addressing the real problem. And if we look at scripture, there are times when people confronted one another. There are times when people brought up their own problems with other people, and even when we read about the God of the scriptures and how he talks about he's a God of justice and things like that, we see that things like this are important and they need to be dealt with in a certain way. So just throwing the blanket of fault finding is really what seems to me, and in my opinion, is just a way to get people to just shut up about what's going on. Like, we don't want to hear it. This is making us look bad, and just, hey, forget about it, right? And I talked about this too in my other videos, is that in the spiritually abusive system, appearances are really important. And so sometimes it can be difficult for people to get that feedback that, hey, there's something wrong in this environment, because it makes the system look bad. And it's all about appearances over authenticity. And so if you're in a situation where when this has happened to you, this can be extremely frustrating, because you're going there and you're saying, look, this wrong thing happened, we need some help. And instead you're being told you are the problem. And this happens countless times with people who've experienced spiritual abuse. When people are in spiritual authority, spiritual authority and spirituality is not supposed to be used to weaponize. It's not supposed to be used to use the scriptures to weaponize people, or used to be weaponized against people or harm people or anything like that. And I'm not saying that correction can't occur, right? Maybe there's a situation where two parties are fighting and both parties need to work things out. That's fine, and that's not a problem. I'm not saying that in a spiritually healthy environment, people should never receive correction or anything like that. What I am saying is that saying, oh, you're fault finding, oh, you're not forgiving, is not addressing the root of the issue. It's not addressing the real problem. It's just using spirituality as a cover. And that can be very difficult, when you're in that situation. How can you challenge that? How can you say, look, I'm not fault finding. I just want, I just want the situation to be addressed, or if you express any sort of hurt or, unhappiness about a situation, then you're automatically looked at as, well, you're not a forgiving person. And so I see that going on here, which is really unfortunate. And the individual said also Christian platitudes and Christianese platitudes, and that's another thing that I see going on in these sorts of environments. Is there these phrases that are being thrown out? You're bitter, you don't have the love of God, you don't have this and this. And that's not addressing the situation. And so what do you do when you're in a situation like this? It can be extremely demoralizing. It can be, you can feel helpless. In this situation, individuals said that, like, they basically were just sent away and told they were the problem. And so, if you want to understand more about this, I have resources on my website, on my YouTube videos, and you can also contact me for a free consultation so that you can understand how to deal with and navigate these situations better. Okay, so what I would say in this situation is, you have to really be able to build up some resilience on your own part and understand that just because someone told you this doesn't mean it's true, right? So you can forgive somebody and still want justice in the situation. You can bring up somebody's wrongs and not be in a situation of fault finding. And so really, that's what I would say in this situation. Really kind of understand what's going on, assess your environment, and then figure out what the next steps are. But I think the real challenge that people have in these spiritually abusive environments sometimes is that when they hear somebody who's supposed to be a spiritual authority or a member tell them something, they automatically accept it's true and they accept the blame and they think, oh, I'm a bad and a horrible person. And it just becomes this negative spiral. So I would just encourage you not to do that, to look at the situation for what it is and understand that you can bring up grievances, you can seek justice, and what you've experienced is really a way to work around the issue instead of addressing the real root of it. So I hope that that helps. If you found this content helpful, I would like for you to please give this a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm and helps get this information out to other people that can benefit from it. And then also, if you have a question or you have a situation that you would like my perspective on, drop a comment in the video and let me know what that would be, and I might address that in an upcoming video. And then again, if you'd like to book a consultation with me that's free, go ahead to my website, skillsetcounseling.com, or look in the link in the description box and you'll find out how to go and book one there. All right, may you have a wonderful day filled with peace. Bye-bye.